Welcome, IndyCar fans, to a special edition of the IndyCar Report with Elijah Poe. Elijah's coming up along with Dave Chanley to recap and react to the inaugural IndyCar Grand Prix in Arlington, Texas. But before we get to that, want to go through all of the results, so don't get bogged down with that with Elijah and Dave. Kyle Kirkwood, his sixth career win. It ended under yellow, but he had the field covered either way. Alex Palou finished second. Will Power was third. Then Marcus Ericsson giving Andretti three of the top four finishers. Pato Award was the top finishing Chevy in fifth place. Then the rest of the top 10, David Malukas, Christian Lundgaard, Scott Dixon, Alexander Rossi, and Marcus Armstrong. Scott McLaughlin moved from the 25th starting position all the way up to 11th. Then was Kyle Collette, the top finishing rookie. Louis Foster, Renus VK, and Joseph Newgarden. Then Dennis Hauger, Santino Ferrucci, Graham Rahal, Kiffin Simpson. Felix Rosenquist received a post-race penalty and was moved from 9th place to 20th. Stingray Robb was 21st. Then Mick Schumacher, Romain Grosjean, Nolan Siegel, and Christian Rasmussen. The accident between Grosjean and Siegel was on the final lap and was the reason for the yellow. It definitely wasn't a dominant drive by Kirkwood. Listen to this, producer Susie. Kirkwood, Palou, and Will Power all were tied for the most laps led with 16 each. And then Marcus Ericsson led 15. Felix Rosenquist, who finished 21st, led 7 laps. Kirkwood passed Palou on lap 56 going into turn 14, which turned out to be the winning pass, and that does not happen very often. And now we welcome in Elijah and Dave. And Elijah, big crowd, decent race. I think it was a success for sure.
Yeah, just super impressive all around for IndyCar as a whole. It's nice to have one of these races where everything feels like it went right in general. And what a result we had with Kyle Kirkwood hunting down Alex Palou with about 20 laps to go and then making that overtake on Palou with just 15 laps to go. What a great drive by Kirkwood, and all around just a great weekend for Andretti.
First, third, and fourth, Dave.
Awesome day for Andretti. Awesome day. The guy that really needed it was Will Power, but he had a great weekend too. But Kirkwood's been there. Kirkwood has been right up in the hunt all year, so nothing new to him and no surprise. But the power of the Andretti team, I mean, they had the pace over everybody.
It's been impressive to see what Kirkwood has done now this season. He's finished fourth, second, and now first in these opening races. And I'm not sure we've seen somebody hunt down Palou since Dixon caught him at Mid-Ohio with Palou's mistake. Just what a great drive that was by Kirkwood.
That's what I was thinking earlier. That one took a mistake for somebody to hunt him down. This one did not. But you could see it coming, and Elijah called it.
He did. And that doesn't go. Andretti had their problems in the pits.
I think that was another shockingly glaring issue. I would not be surprised. I think Kirkwood was the class of the field, but I really think Ericsson could have got that second place on that first pit cycle. Just a mistake by Andretti constantly. They had a mistake with Kirkwood, Ericsson, and Will Power, which is shocking. They're still able to have the result they had, but it's been this last couple years where Andretti has really faltered in the pits, and it's been eating him up. And I think it ate him up today. I think they could have maybe knocked Palou off the podium if they were able to kind of turn that around. But regardless, still a great result.
Great result.
My favorite thing about this race was 3 weeks in a row with IndyCar racing. Very cool.
And 3 distinctively different venues and courses. But I'm with Elijah that I think everything went off well. I think Fox did a good job. I'm going to give them kudos for the whole weekend for Fox. And the venue was good. The crowd was fantastic. The hype was great. The commercials leading up to it, part of the hype was great. All in all, I just give everybody an A.
I think the only thing that really shocked me was just how long it stayed green. And you look how bumpy and how many overtake possibilities there are on this track. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I was totally shocked to see it stay green until the last 4 laps.
Yes, I agree. I was surprised, but then when it got about 10 laps to go, I thought a totally green race, a caution-free race. Wouldn't that be awesome?
And might as well have been. I think it ended up probably exactly like it was going to because the yellow didn't produce much green. So
Well, the one person that it really penalized was Felix Rosenquist because he passed too soon and got dropped from 6th to 20th, which I thought was I thought that was a little overdue on the penalty. I thought dropping back one place to where he should have been.
It's pretty unfortunate, especially because Meyer Shank had a pretty good weekend overall. Marcus Armstrong had a puncture before the race even started and was able to recover that drive and end up in 10th. And Felix Rosenquist, he wasn't a factor for maybe a podium all day, but he was consistently running in the top 5, and he looked really, really good. It's just unfortunate to see that result, especially because Felix hasn't had a really great start to the season. But nonetheless, I think both Meyer Shank cars are still going to be in the top 10 in championship standings and points.
And hats off to him. That's a team that everybody pulls for.
I think
hey guys, go ahead, please.
I was going to say, I think another team that everybody was pulling for that looked really good in qualifying, but really did not have a good race is ECR. Rossi was able to finish in 10th, and obviously Rasmussen had that issue that brought out the yellow with 4 laps to go, but just not a great day from them when they were looking pretty solid in qualifying, both of them being in the top 10.
Right. And Rossi got moved to 9th with the penalty for Rosenquist. I think he had a really good race, strong race, just to keep it where it was. And he was in the top 10 most of the day. Rasmussen struggled. He struggled most of the day. And then, of course, had the problem. So from last week, it was a big come down from last week. But it's a road course, and they struggle more on a road course.
Mm-hmm.
I will give the rookie of the day, Kai Collette, hats off to him. He ended up in 12th. And he was the highest rookie, but he drove a heck of a race.
Yeah.
Talented rookie class, that's for sure.
That's an impressive drive for him, coming from 16th to 12th. And I think there's some 2 other really impressive recovery drives with Christian Lundgaard starting in 18th and inching his way to 7th. And then you also have Scotty Mack, who started in 25th and was able to finish in 11th. I think the McLaren team as a whole, I know Pato said it on the grid afterward that they just didn't have the pure pace. Regardless, ending up 5th and 7th for Air McLaren, I think that's a pretty solid result, even if they don't have the pace.
They maxed out. In my opinion, they maxed out. They don't have the pace. They haven't had the pace really in all 3 races. And Pato, I think, has been a 5th, 4th, 5th. And considering the power they're running on, that hats off. That's great driving. And they've got to get that solved. And I'm sure they will by Indy. But yeah, you could just obviously see it. They just can't keep up with everybody else.
That's right. You knew it could, and again, it's a shame. Elijah brought it up that the results weren't better, but I thought maybe the fastest cars belonged to the Ed Carpenter Racing team, and Kristen Rasmussen today had the most on-track passes with 48 on that course is really impressive. So the good news for Carpenters when it comes to these street courses, they have fast cars.
I was listening to the broadcast as well and heard some interviews where Alex Rossi said there's also a bunch of upgrades that they're actually bringing to road and street courses that they haven't been able to put onto the car yet. So I'm going to be super interested to see what these cars can look like. If they're up there dealing with the Penske's, Andretti's, and Ganassis, and even the McLarens, what a thrilling series we have. And even though we already have a stacked lineup, just making even more teams competitive, what a great thing for the sport in general.
Agree 100%.
What a horrible day for the Ray Hall Letterman team. Oh,
That there can't be any excuses. They just had a bad day or bad weekend all the way around.
And it's rough, especially for RLL, because these last couple weekends, I feel like they've been building some positive momentum.
That's right.
And kind of just they were almost just a non-factor in today's race. I'm not sure I saw any of them, but Mick Schumacher spinning around and maybe Louis Foster out of the pits. I don't think I saw Graham Rahal one time on my screen.
No, it was just rough. And Schumacher, I'm really high on this kid, but today was not. it did not bode well for him. He's going to have to get it back together.
Guys, I mentioned this before we all started talking, but I want to mention it to you and get your reaction. Last year at this time, through 3 races, Alex Palou had a 46-point lead. Right now, the standings: Kyle Kirkwood 108, Alex Palou 101, Joseph Newgarden 98, Scott McLaughlin 88, Pato O'Ward 85, Marcus Ericsson 75, and then it drops off a little Will Power at 58 with a bunch there. So probably still 15 guys in the race and 6 serious contenders right there with Palou, and you got to love to see it.
Yeah, especially considering today that Flo said, he said he didn't have anything at all for Kirkwood. So usually, in fact, I think I texted you guys early in the race as soon as Flo came out of the pits ahead. I said, this race is over. He'll pull away. Man, Kirkwood, and they just reeled him in. So, yeah, it's going to be a series this year. It's going to be neat.
And as much as we hate seeing drivers crash out, I really think, Alex Palou, ending up not being able to finish the race in Phoenix is a huge thing for the series in general. I think the longer we can keep this championship close and competitive, I think it's just going to showcase what these drivers really can do. And I hate to toot my own horn, but I was picking Kirkwood since last Wednesday and even stuck with them yesterday after qualifying. And what a driver he's become. He's become a real lethal threat, especially on the streets. And coming in second last week in Phoenix as well, he's really being able to turn out as a well-rounded driver, and he's been a superstar for Andretti in the last couple of years.
Yes, and my pick was Scotty Mack, and he shot himself in the foot yesterday because he was one of the fastest, and then crashed it in practice or in one of the rounds of qualifying. So he went to the back of the pack. I really think had he not made that error in qualifying, he would have been right up there in front and in the hunt because he had a great day today.
It's unfortunate. I feel like Penske ends up shooting themselves in the foot more than others, especially in qualifying. But regardless, to come from the back, it kind of reminds me of what Joseph Newgarden did at St. Pete when he was able to go from the back to 7th place. Still finishing at 11th for Scotty Mack is super impressive, especially with the season he had last year. It was as down in the dumps as you can get for Scotty Mack. So overall, really strong finish. And I think somebody who hasn't been really talked about much, I don't think we've talked about him, is David Malukas, another just consistent drive in 6th place.
But the
Yes.
big story there is that Chevy on the street courses just doesn't have it for Honda right now.
It's true. I don't know the answer, don't know why, but you're right.
Yeah, it's clear. I think Hinch was explaining it that the Hondas just could get on the gas a little bit quicker, so their acceleration out of the corners is a little faster. I think Chevy is better at maintaining that high end speed, which we really see pay off in ovals. But you're not wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4 Honda, and I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before Rosenquist, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 before Rosenquist was demoted there. But still, just a great week for Honda in general. I'll be interested to see what the Chevys can turn out. We talk about it with the McLarens. The McLaren and Penske in general, they just don't really have the pace like these Hondas do, especially on a new street circuit like Arlington.
The more wide open racing at Alabama, I think Penske will be more of a contender this week. I think the Chevys will be more competitive next week. 2 weeks. Sorry, first time we've had a week off.
They need a week off. What did you guys, Elijah? What did you think of the layout, the course today?
I thought it was pretty good. I think the only thing that was a little confusing, it took me, and I watched practice and qualifying, but it took me just a couple of laps to even get kind of recognizing where they were in general. But I think that back stretch was beautiful and how they laid it out. You could just tell those cars were absolutely flying. And I really liked the pit entry and exit. I think it caused for some really good drama coming in and out of the pits. And that's really what you want on a street circuit where those pit stops are so vital.
They're not only vital, but they really were getting in and out of there without losing a whole lot of ground on the track.
Mm-hmm. I think they did a really good job on it. And I'm excited to see this race in the future because I think they're going to be able to kind of smooth out those bumps. I think that's what a lot of teams were talking about. and just make the track overall better. But, from a fan perspective, that place was packed, and I'm not sure this weekend could have gone any better for IndyCar. I know they're trending on Twitter, they're trending on a bunch of other social media platforms. A lot of people are talking about them. And with how F1 has kind of changed their regulations, I really think IndyCar is on the rise because a lot of F1 fans are coming over to IndyCar because it's the purest racing there is right now.
I agree with that. It is fastest racing on earth.
Best racing on earth, too.
I agree. It's really. I just thought it was I thought it was a very good race. I liked the layout. Thought it was conducive to some passing and some good racing, and I really liked the pits, the side by side, the 2 lanes. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that provides for some of the best pit stop viewing in the whole season. I know they started doing it at Detroit, and I honestly love watching it as well because you can literally see side by side what car is going to come out ahead of each other. And man, just how good is that 10 crew for Palou? They just never make a mistake in the pits. You see teams constantly make little small issues in the pits, but it's been years since I've seen Alex Palou have a mistake in the pit.
Or really, for that matter, any of the Ganassi. Ganassi's so strong in the pits, in and out. They're really strong.
Except for Kiffin Simpson.
Well, yeah, he's.
Oh my gosh, Simpson and Siegel today.
They both are going to be. Their seat is starting to get a little hot for both of them. I think.
Goodness gracious.
I would say Siegel's got the hottest seat there is right now. I think Kiffin's going to be locked in for the season just because it is Ganassi. But you look at Air McLaren and you've got 2 of their drivers finishing in the top 7. And I need to go back and watch that last lap crash. But I'm going to assume it was Siegel's fault, just the way the cars ended up. And it's just it's honestly frustrating because you want to see these teams compete at a higher level. And imagine we had another Air McLaren thrown in with all those teams up there. It would make it that much more competitive. And, that's a really, really coveted seat he's in. And, I'm not dissing him or hating on him, but it's almost time to see another driver in that seat. I would even love Teo Pourchaire to come back. He was a stud that really just got thrown out of the seat, or even Callum Ilott. There's some really good drivers out there that could bring a lot to this series.
Callum Ilott, I know, is standing by. He's been there all weekend because I heard the interview and he said, "Yeah, I'm here in case somebody needs me."
He's
smart. Definitely a talent.
Yeah. Lundgaard had a great race.
Yeah, he's a very good driver. I think what I'm most interested to see him is I really need to see him kind of nail it down on these ovals. In road courses, he's always been very, very consistent. Street courses, he's not bad. But I think the kind of mixing and matching between Pato and Lundgaard all year is going to be something to watch. But right now, Pato just looks so consistent. And even though he doesn't have the power like these other cars do, I don't think he's finished outside the top 6 or 7 all season.
No, he's strong. He is just, he's good. First of all, I think if you pick out one driver who has been consistent this year and has shown their ability, a Pato Award might be the one because he is driving an underpowered race car and just keeping it in contention.
We'll talk about all of this and more on the IndyCar Report with Elijah on Thursday. Hope Dave can join us for that too. And Michelle will be back from her wedding, and hopefully we'll have a big old crew. Michelle will be back from the wedding that she attended.
From the wedding. It sounds like she just one that got married.
That's right. And we will talk more IndyCar as we do every week during the season. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you. Enjoyed it. Looking forward to the next one.
Thank you. Can't wait to see what these cars do at Barber here in a couple weeks. Looking forward.
And thank you for listening. Please do us a huge favor. Share this podcast with an IndyCar fan in your life. Help us spread the word that the Central Indiana Sports Report is talking about. Central Indiana sports fans are talking about. That was a good one, Producer Susie. Got like 20 seconds left of the music. Anything you want to say to the people?
Make sure you're liking these, passing them along.
Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love you, Susie.